it works. It's here, and it's beautiful. Hey everybody, it's Miss Teacher Teaches Tech here. Today I'm going to show you how to create an interactive webcam overlay for your Google Meet using a program called OBS. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Destiny. I am a 7th grade ELA public school teacher in the state of North Carolina, and I do these videos to show you guys how to integrate tech within your classroom. Let's get started. So here is an example of the overlay that I use within my Google Meets. So as you can see here, I have my camera, I have my presentation of what I'm showing my students, and then I have a cute little background, and then I have some important information at the bottom with some interactive elements and a GIF. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get a similar effect, so that way you can customize this however you want by the end of this video. So when you open up OBS, it's going to look something like this, and mine is going to look a little bit different than yours. You're going to have empty boxes here. Mine are already kind of filled because I already have some things that I've already preset and made. So I know this is going to seem a little overwhelming, but I'm going to walk you through some simple steps on how to set this up. Please keep in mind that as I go through this, I'm going to be on the scene that says Google Meet, and I already have these things here. So one, you can see my screen and what I'm doing, and two, so you can hear me explain. So just keep that in mind as we go along. First things first, you want to go to Tools, and you want to go to Virtual Cam, and this window is going to pop up, and you want to click the check box next to Auto Start. This is going to make your interactive camera start up every time as a choice when you open this program. That's very important if you want this overlay to show up on Google Meet. Then you're going to click Start. Then, after that is all said and done, at the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you're going to have a box that's called Scenes. Below this is going to be a plus button in the corner. You're going to click that plus button and you're going to name your scene Google Meet Cam. And now you have your scene. But yours is going to be empty and we need to add some elements to it to spice it up. So in the box labeled sources here, we have some of the same icons at the bottom. We're going to click the plus button and here we're going to see a variety of options to choose from. To start, we're going to add a background, so we're going to choose image. You're going to label your background, and then you are going to find the file background that you want to upload. I would highly suggest you add a background that isn't going to take attention away from you or your teaching content that you have displayed on your screen. So I'm going to move this out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing. Next, we want to add a camera. If you don't want students to see you and only the content that you present, you can go ahead and skip to the next step. So if you want to add a camera, we will press the plus button again and we will select Video Capture Device. You should be under Create New here and we're going to rename it Camera. This is so that we don't get confused later. Under Device, you want to go ahead and select the camera that you want to use. Do not select OBS camera. We need to leave that alone for right now, and we're going to get to that in a bit. After you've selected your camera that you're going to use, whether that be your front-facing camera or a USB camera that you have hooked up, go ahead and press OK at the bottom of your window. Now what we want to do is we want to go back to the plus button and we want to add window capture. This is going to show a window that you want to present, such as a Google Slides presentation, a website, Google Classroom, whatever online web page you want to show your students. So we're going to name this Internet Browser to avoid any confusion. We're going to click OK. And then under Window we have a list of drop-down options here. You want to click your internet browser. When you do that, you're going to press OK. And then here we have my internet browser with my presentation shown on the screen. You want to make sure that you have your internet browser pulled up before you go ahead and do this setting, so that way the program can recognize what window is what. And just to let you know, you can have one window open from the internet to project to your students that you want them to see, and then you can have a separate window, a whole separate window, not a tab, but a whole separate window that you don't want students to see, such as like a lesson plan, grades, sensitive information, so that way you can have something that you can reference to, and then something that you actually want the kids to see. You can adjust your internet browser on the screen by using the sizing features that we covered on the camera setup. I typically like to make my internet browser window the largest element on my screen, since that is what I want my students to focus on. Just know that if you adjust your window on your actual computer, like on your actual desktop, it's going to adjust that in OBS as well. So whenever you are trying to resize some things, just keep that in mind as you go along trying to set up the program. Next thing that I'm going to go over is the fun stuff. How to add those interactive elements to make your Google Meet video stand out. You can add images, GIFs, scrolling text, color boxes, Google Meet join reminders, name of assignments, important announcements, due dates, like the list is endless. I'm going to run through how to add each of those. If you want to add an image or a GIF, what we're going to do is go down to sources and we're going to press the plus button, and then we are going to add image, and you can name this however you want. For simplicity, I'm just going to name this GIF, and I'm going to press OK, and then I'm going to go to my image file, browse, and I'm going to select the GIF that I want to add, and then it will pop up on my screen. I'm also going to add another image. I can say image 2, that'd be fine. I'm going to go to browse, and I'm going to select my other GIF or image that I want on my screen. And then as you can see, it displays here on my screen. So at the end, we're going to go through and we're going to make it all pretty. But for right now, we're just going to put everything on here. Next thing that I'm going to show you is how to add a color box. So you're going to go down to your sources, you're going to click the plus button, and you are going to click on color source. Create new, you can name whatever you want. You can name it colored box, anything that you need to name it as, so that way you don't get confused. And then you can select the color that you want to add, and then it's going to add this huge box over, and then you can resize it however you need to resize it. Drag this colored box around to anywhere that you want on the screen, and you can use it to call attention to text, to your camera, your internet browser window. Your choices are endless here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cleaning some of this up, and if I wanted to draw attention to my camera, I could order this and I would make the color box appear before my camera, and then I can press the Alt button and the Shift button to move that around and to draw attention to my camera. I'm also going to resize this little poster that I have right here, and then I can add my web browser here, and then if I wanted attention, let's just say near me or whatever I wanted them to focus on, I could place that there. So it's kind of like Photoshop in a way when we're talking about layers. So in your sources, and I'm going to move all this. In your sources, you have different layers, and in those layers, you can decide what gets placed at the top and what gets placed at the bottom. So the next thing that I want to show you is scrolling text. So under sources, we're going to go to the plus button. We're going to click on text, and we can just leave it as text, or we can rename it as text. Press OK, and then whatever message that you want to type in, that's going to be what you type in. So for text, let's just say, for example, I have an assignment due, so I could say writing assignment due at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. I can select my font. I can choose what type of style I want that in. I can choose the font size. I would suggest putting in something that's either serif or sans serif. I wouldn't focus on any script or anything fancy like that because you want to make sure that your text is going to be easily readable by your students. So that popped up here, and I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger, put this down here, and it is a little blurry, and the reason why is because you're making the text box bigger than the font. So you need to go back to font, and here we see that the size is 28. It's going to get a lot clearer if we put 48 or even 72. We're going to press OK, OK, and you see it got a little bit bigger on the screen. And then we can move our text around, resize it, and it will appear much clearer on our screen than it did before. If we want to get this to scroll, what we're going to do is we're going to click on text in our sources, and we're going to right click, and then we are going to click on filters. A box is going to come up for our filters, and we are going to press the plus button, and we're going to add scroll. You can just leave it as scroll, press OK, and then you have horizontal and vertical speed. If you want the text to go from right to left horizontally, like as you're reading it, you're going to increase the horizontal speed to a positive. If you want it to go from left to right, you're going to increase the horizontal speed to a negative. If you want to have your text go from top to bottom, you're going to go to the negatives, and then if you want it scrolling from bottom to top, you'll go into the positives. Increase my horizontal speed just a little bit because I don't want it going by too fast. I don't want to be distracting, but I do want that information to be there for my kids. We're going to get all this organized and pretty. So here is my colored box. I'm going to lock that so it doesn't move. I don't accidentally touch that. My camera, I'm going to move that. Then my internet browser, I want to take up most of the room here. And then my little image, I would like to put that here. And this is where our colored box can also come in handy. So here you can see the font and the text isn't very noticeable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that color box that we made earlier, and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it as a reference. And then I'm going to drag it to the bottom here, and I'm going to create like a little news, a headline type effect. And I need to make sure that my colored box is underneath my text. And then here, the text is easily seeable. And you can stretch that however you want. Let's just say that I want their attention on that text. I can have a little GIF image right here, so that way it's animated and it's catching their attention. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is in its glory. You can do all kinds of things with this. You could change the color, you can change up the style, you can change up everything, every aspect to this to make it uniquely yours. Now what we need to do is make sure that we can use this in Google Meet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up Google Meet. So when you get to Google Meet, you're going to press Start Meeting. And Google Meet wants to use your camera and your microphone. Of course, you want to give Google Meet that access. You want to go to settings, and so your microphone is whatever you're going to put it as, your speakers, whatever you choose to set that as. Video, you need to go to camera, and you need to select OBS camera. That will bring the overlay as your camera, and you can now use this interface in Google Meet to further engage your students. If you want higher quality, you need to go to settings, you need to go to video, and for resolution, you need to make sure that's in 720. So that way you are broadcasting at a decent frame rate. Keep in mind that you have to keep OBS open and running to get this effect in your Google Meets. If not, it won't display. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to like this video, and if you are a teacher looking to integrate tech into your instruction, consider subscribing for more tips and tricks like this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!